I've just read the funniest thing on the internet today. So basically, Canadian PM just resigned yesterday, and Trump suggested in his post on Truth Social that Canada would be a great 51st state for America. And this is not the first time that Trump has suggested this. He even mentioned this face to face to the Canadian PM when he came to meet him at Mar-a-Lago to discuss the tariffs that Trump was saying he's going to put up on Canada. And funnily, Trump's make very interesting point why he think Canada would be a great 51st state. One, there wouldn't be any trade tariffs. Second, the taxes would lower. And third, they will protect them from Chinese and Russians. And as per Trump, Canadians would love to become the 51st state of US. So what do you guys think? Drop your reaction below and follow for more.
President-elect Trump has been needling you a bit, calling you Governor Trudeau, talking about making Canada the 51st state. Did you have any interaction with him today?
No, not today. But that's not going to happen. Canadians are incredibly proud of being Canadian. One of the ways we define ourselves most easily is, well, we're not American. There is such a depth of pride that that's not actually an issue. What I think is happening in this is President Trump, who's a very skillful negotiator, is getting people to be somewhat distracted by that conversation, to take away from the conversation around 25% tariffs on oil and gas and electricity and steel and aluminum and lumber and concrete, and everything the American consumers buy from Canada is suddenly going to get a lot more expensive if he moves forward on these tariffs. And that's something that I think we need to be focusing on a little bit more.
Did the re-election of Donald Trump and this more direct confrontation with Canada over this issue play any role at all in your decision to resign as leader of your party and prime minister?
No, on the contrary. What we were able to do during the first presidency of Mr. Trump's was work together in a very challenging situation to come out with a very strong win-win in Canada-U.S. relations with the renegotiation of the USMCA. It is a great deal for both of our countries. We've seen trade grow, we've seen opportunities grow, we've seen wealth grow in both of our countries for workers, for businesses. Working together concretely is something that we've been able to do in the past, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with him for the next 2 months while I'm still in office.
Trump wanted to buy Canada. Trump's saying that Canada, if Canada keeps up that lip, Canada's going to end up being the 51st state. He said he's going to buy Canada and make them another state. Canada will become a state before Puerto Rico with Trump. Don't play with him. And then this happens today, and it's even better.
Hey, Donald, have we got a deal for you? You think we want to be the 51st state? Nah, but maybe California would like to be the 11th province. How about it? California, Oregon, Washington, you've got geography in common with us. And not only that, we've already got a carbon trading system between California and Quebec. We've got some strong alliances on our west coast from British Columbia. There's been a lot of academic papers on the idea of Cascadia. So California, Governor Newsom, and Washington State, Jay Inslee, and newly elected Governor of Oregon, Tina Kotek. How about it? Want to put a referendum to your citizens? Because this is what you deal. Have we got a deal for you? This is what you get. Free health care. Universal free health care. No more one-year-olds who suddenly fall off the Medicaid list and their parents are in the news because they're trying to do a GoFundMe so they can get their daughter to a doctor. Universal free health care. And guess what? Those gun laws that your Congress is too afraid to pass because of the national gun lobby, we already got our strict gun laws.
And the fuckery continues, folks. I'll tell you, I've never been more embarrassed in my entire life to be Canadian. I travel a lot for work. I'm in the United States all the time. And I'm constantly trying to defend myself when I'm being peppered with questions about what's going on with their neighbors up north. And to be honest, it's hard to give them an answer. I don't really understand it myself. How did we get here? How did we fucking get here? What happened over the last 9 years? Well, I'll tell you what happened. We let a narcissistic egomaniac run the country, which many of you supported, pushing his ideological agendas that made no sense down every Canadian's throat. And he has single-handedly dismantled any sense of cultural identity in this country. He's ruined our country. It's happened. And the question is, can we actually come back from this? Will Poilievre actually make a difference when he comes in? So what? He's going to axe the carbon tax. Big deal. The damage is already done. And then we have people like Donald Trump laughing at Canadians, and rightly so, I might add, calling us the 51st state. And then we get all of our members of parliament and the leaders of those parties say, we will never become the 51st state. Well, wait a minute. Maybe we should become the 51st state. And think about this here. Before you get mad, think about this. We've lost our cultural identity. And as a matter of fact, when you really look at it, our country was established in 1867 from land we stole from the indigenous people. We murdered and raped and pillaged and took the land on a deal that was advantageous to us, and we segregated an entire community and probably committed genocide. And this is our country now. Well, I'm not really sure. Like, when you look at it, and you look at it over the last couple of 100 years, do we even have the right to have this country anymore? And maybe we should become the 51st state. And think about this. If Canada became the 51st state, our national debt, $1.2 trillion, would be wiped away. Gone. Interesting. We could dismantle a number of different governmental institutions and get rid of them. The CRA. There's been a 40% increase in government employees since this dickhead has been in power. We could get rid of the CRA entirely. We could simplify our tax, one of the most complicated tax systems in the world. We become a state. We could operate independently. We could deregulate. We could become one of the wealthiest states in the Americas. If we increased our oil production by 30%, we could become a tax-free state. And here's the real kicker. What if they took our dollar at par? Your $1 Canadian turns into $1.40 American. People could become rich overnight. I mean, it's not as easy as that. And yes, there might be challenges, but maybe it's not such a bad idea. We become the state of Canada. We become part of the United States. We strengthen our military. They're already our biggest trading partner. We're already really a part of them anyway. So maybe that wouldn't be such a bad idea. Just maybe there's more of a tactful way to do it. Because otherwise, I don't know how Poilievre's going to come in here and fix the damage that's already been done. It's irreparable. It's irreparable. Every facet of government would need to be rebuilt. And I just don't know if it's possible. But maybe we could have a clean slate and start again. Start as a state. We love our American neighbors, do we not? I don't know. What do you think? Is it a bad idea? You tell me. What if you could get a new lease on life? What if you could start fresh? What if you could start with no debt? That might not be a bad idea. It could change a lot of people's lives overnight. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
So a lot of people thought Donald Trump was joking when he said he wanted to turn Canada into the 51st state of America. However, during today's press conference at Mar-a-Lago, a reporter asked him if he is planning to use military or economic force to accomplish that. And Donald Trump responded by saying, quote, economic force. So he did not rule out the prospect of trying to annex Canada, which confirms that he is very serious about his intention to annex Canada. Also during the press conference, Donald Trump called the border that separates Canada from America an artificially drawn line. Basically, today's press conference confirmed that Donald Trump is completely off the rails and he really does plan on taking over Canada. And no, this is not him trolling Justin Trudeau because Justin Trudeau has resigned. There's nobody left to troll. This is Donald Trump putting his psychopathy and derangement on full display.
Hey, y'all know we have an incident for every month of the year. What's the major incident for January? You got Donald Trump wanting to take over and change the Panama Canal to the Panama of America. He want to take Canada. He want to own Greenland. He want Mexico to be a part of the United States. That's one. We got Bourbon Street attack. We got the set off the bomb at Trump Towers. California is literally on fire. You can see that shit from a satellite in space. The whole East Coast southern part is about to be in fucking cold and inches of snow. We lost Jimmy Carter. What's the major one for this month? I need a return to sender. Can we start all over at the 31st? Because if this is what the fuck 2025 is about to look like, I need to go back. I'd rather go backwards. It's not even 2 weeks. We need another trial period because I can't. I don't even know what the disaster is for this month. Trump ain't even been reigning as president yet. I quit. I'm checked out this year. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. It's so fucking unserious.
Welcome back to the channel. Everyone, today we are diving deep into a tweet that has the internet buzzing. Donald Trump's claim that many Canadians love the idea of being the 51st state of the United States. If you missed it, here's the gist. Trump tweeted that Canada is struggling economically, needs US subsidies, and would benefit from merging with America. Oh, and he also said Justin Trudeau resigned because of it. Now, there is a lot to unpack here. From the trade defeat claim to the idea of merging two nations to how Canadians and Americans are reacting. We are covering it all, so grab your coffee, sit back, and let's break this down. First, let's talk about the core of Trump's tweet. The idea that many Canadians love being the 51st state. Now, anyone who has been to Canada knows that Canadians are incredibly proud of their country. They have a strong national identity rooted in values like healthcare for all, multiculturalism, and of course, their love of hockey and Tim Hortons. So, the idea that many Canadians would be on board with giving all that up to join the US seems well far-fetched. Sure, some Canadians might admire aspects of American culture or even dream of living in places like New York or California, but becoming the 51st state, that is an entirely different conversation. Then there is a claim that Canada relies on US subsidies to stay afloat. While it's true that the two countries have a complex trade relationship, Canada isn't exactly a charity case. In fact, Canada is one of the United States' largest trading partners. The trade relationship benefits both sides, and suggesting that Canada is solely dependent on the US oversimplifies things. Next up, the claim that Justin Trudeau resigned. Spoiler alert, he hasn't. Trudeau is still serving as Prime Minister, handling the usual challenges of running a country. This part of the tweet almost feels like a throwaway line, but it was nothing how misinformation can spread when people don't fact check. Some flocks on social media even started asking if Trudeau had stepped down, which just goes to show how powerful Trump's words can be, even when they are not based in reality. Now let's talk about the idea of Canada and the US merging into one nation. This is where things get really interesting and frankly, a bit ridiculous. For starters, merging two countries isn't as simple as tearing down a border and shaking hands. There are legal systems, healthcare systems, education systems, and entire cultures that would need to align. Canada, for example, has universal healthcare, which is a point of pride for many Canadians. The US, on the other hand, has a privatized healthcare system. Can you imagine the debates that would arise from trying to unify those two systems? And what about politics? Canada has a parliamentary system, while the US operates under a presidential system. Merging those would be a logistical nightmare. Plus, Canadians generally lean more progressive in their politics compared to Americans. Would Canada want to align themselves with US policy? Probably not. Trump also mentioned that Canada would be totally secured from Russia and Chinese ships if it became part of the US. This seems like a strange argument, given that Canada is already part of a NATO and works closely with the US on security matters. There is no evidence to suggest that Russia or Chinese ships are a significant threat to Canada. In fact, Canada's geographic position and existing alliances already make it one of the safest countries in the world. So, this part of the twist feels more like fear-mongering than a legitimate concern. Now, let's get to the fun part. How people are reacting to all of this. Unsurprisingly, Twitter and other social media platforms have been flooded with responses. Some Canadians are taking it in straight with tweets like, "We are fine being Canada, thanks. If Trump thinks we want to join the US, he's clearly never been to a Leafs game." Others are using the moment to poke fun at both sides. One user wrote, "Sure, we will be the 51st state if you give us free healthcare and hockey on every corner." Meanwhile, some Americans are chiming in with their own hot takes. One tweet read, "Imagine merging with Canada and getting universal healthcare. I did vote for that." It's clear that this tweet has sparked a mix of hormone, outrage, and serious political debate. To get a more nuanced perspective, experts in international relations have weighed in. Most agree that Trump's tweet oversimplifies the trade dynamics between Canada and the US. They point out that both countries benefit from their partnership and that there is no real appetite on either side of the border for a merger. One political analyst even joked that Trump's tweet might unite Canadians in a way we haven't seen before, against the idea of becoming the 51st state. At the end of the day, Trump's tweet has done what he does best: spark conversations. Whether you find it amusing, frustrating, or downright confusing, it's clear that the idea of Canada as the 51st state is more fantasy than reality. But what do you think? Could Canada and US even merge into one nation? Would it be the start of a new superpower or a recipe for disaster? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.